them about this email that they sent out Friday.
There you go.
Yeah. Do you feel comfortable with reading that out there in my chairman report, or you want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay. We just thought it'd be a good idea considering his representative of the school system, but all it is he's just trying to connect as many people as he possibly can.
Yeah, I think it was very well written.
It was a good one.
I'm telling you, I got so,
I really, I like that a lot.
Start at 6:30.
I'm kind of afraid of that.
Yeah. Starts at 6:30.
People lining up.
no, they just dressing up for no reason.
I was just harassing the school board members out back. My taxes are too high.
Yes. Yeah. We just gonna go out and announce that we're cutting taxes while everybody's sitting there.
Man.
I was gonna aggravate them more about it, but after this, the current laws and all the things been going on, I did not go with that.
Oh, I see. Well, actually, y'all considered voting.
Yeah. Meeting
Last week, but I got
that was a minute.
Wednesday or Thursday, I went to Elberton.
Oh, really?
Wednesday.
All right.
So, Elberton, last week.
Maybe, I don't,
Yeah.
it was Wednesday or Thursday.
I don't know. That house was 584. Second or third meeting.
Okay.
No, I was there, Steve Goose was there. It's okay. No. And they know, in fact, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
It's worded, where it's gonna pass. Political suicide, but for us. Mike's right, the word political suicide is just, political suicide both ways. I mean, I think South Georgia really come alive, over the past 2 weeks on that House bill, 581, about the homestead exemption.
Yeah, I caught the tail end over there.
We do. It's gonna look good on paper, but it's not good. School charge, they're gonna lose 2.1,
Yeah.
and they can't recover from it. They just have to jack the rate up.
Except the cap is 20.
They capped at 20, they're 15.9 now, 15.94.
Yeah.
There's 3 meetings, October 2nd, 3rd, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, in 3 different locations if y'all want to attend.
If you have a couple of big box retailers there that don't sell any groceries and everything they do sell is taxable, then it works fine.
Does the math work out if you've got enough of them?
If you've got
Yeah.
enough of,
Yeah.
like Oconee can,
Yeah,
they'll be okay.
yeah.
Oconee back, closest to us, Oconee, Banks, and Jackson, and Clark will survive. Everything below that, Hart will survive.
So you can impose up to 1%, right?
Yeah.
0.25% increments.
And like a splash tax.
Exactly.
Yeah, but see, the school can't use splash tax to pay their salaries, so that's why they're saying they're gonna take such a big hit.
The only thing that would work on that would be, and you know, you can do it if you check out at a Home Depot or Lowe's. If you give them your address, supposedly the sales tax dollars goes to where the material lands at, right? Georgia's destination state. But our issue is that nobody thinks to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and with a cash and carry, that's the business.
Yeah. Car dealers, big items like that.
like to welcome everybody to the Madison County Board of Commissioners Agenda Setting Work Session, September 9th, 2024, at 6 p.m. We will call this meeting to order, and we'll start off with the chairman's report. First and foremost, our thoughts and prayers are with Barrow County and the high school up there. I'm sure everybody's fully aware of that situation that's went on. And I want to say how proud I am of our school system and our sheriff's department and what they've had to endure from copycat calls and everything else as of recent since this has taken place. Spoke earlier with Sheriff Moore and Superintendent Goodrow, and he expressed how much gratitude he had in the collaboration of working with Madison County during these trying times. But again, thoughts and prayers to the students, the families, and even the victims and the shooters' families, because this is a bad situation for everyone. Please keep those folks in mind. I have a report, a press release that the school sent out to anyone that had a child in school, and I thought it was worthy of reading out tonight. So I've asked Commissioner May, who is a school teacher, to read this. This comes from the superintendent of our school system.
Dear Madison County parents and community, with the recent tragedy at Appalachia High School in Barrow County and the post-media and social media frenzy, many have experienced fears, anxiety, and heartbreak. I encourage everyone to continue to lift the Barrow County community and our community in prayer. I have a heavy heart because of this situation and a burden to ensure that we are able to love, learn, and lead with ambition, belief, and character. We desire to have an environment where students and staff love to come to school and work in order to grow and carve the path to a successful future. I want you to know that we are committed to doing everything we can to ensure the safety of the schools, students, and staff. We continuously review our safety features and protocols. I also welcome any new ideas. In the past, we have implemented several features to improve our school safety, and we will continue working to be as safe as possible. For example, we have been in contact with Centigix, a push-button alert system, since July. We are in the process of purchasing and implementing this product. I have also been asked about weapons detection devices. We are researching different options, and we'll see what the possibilities are for implementation. Experts tell us communication is essential to stopping any kind of threat. In the last 48 hours, we have investigated many social media posts that contain threatening pictures or messages. School system personnel, along with the Madison County Sheriff's Office, have been investigating each report. This issue is not unique to Madison County schools. In many cases, these posts turn out to be non-credible threats. However, we take each case seriously, as the safety of our children and staff is our highest priority. I am thankful for the Madison County Sheriff's Office for helping us investigate each situation. I appreciate their diligence and collaboration. I would like to ask our parents, guardians, and families to monitor their children's social media activity and speak with them about proper social media use. Our children need our guidance to navigate the safe use of social media. As parents, I know it is challenging to navigate this ever-changing world. This is where I ask for your help and hope to provide some assistance. Please consider the following. Please talk to your children about the consequences of posting inappropriate content or threats of violence online. Ask them to understand that there could be significant disciplinary consequences and lasting effects on their future. Everything they post or share can become public, even if it's only shared with one person. Please monitor your child's online social media behavior. Please remind your children that if they see something, they should say something. If you or your child become aware of any potential threat posted to social media or anywhere else, please notify law enforcement or a school staff member right away. I would also ask that you refrain from reposting it, as it takes more time in the investigation process. I appreciate your support in this effort. Thank you for your continued support of our school system and efforts to keep our children safe, online and at school. Ensuring a safe and secure learning environment requires all of us. By working together, we can support our students. Please feel free to contact me, Dr. Goodrow, or your child's principal with any additional questions or concerns. Sincerely, Dr. Joseph Goodrow, Superintendent.
and Commissioner May. We can all learn a lot from that statement. Even as adults, we don't pay attention a lot of times to our social media posts. I'm going to reference something that happened about a week ago here in Madison County regarding tire dumping. Even though you all are aware that we have a tire amnesty 3 times a year that takes free tires, someone decided to dispose of about 1,000 tires in the Vineyards Creek area. Now, instead of calling the sheriff's office, they blowed up Facebook with pictures, which I wish they would not do. I wish they would either contact our office here or the sheriff's office, because maybe we could have put up trail cameras and caught these individuals, because this wasn't one dumping accident. This was multiple accidents. By reading such posts, I saw where several people said, "Oh, I've been seeing that truck for weeks." Well, if we would have known that before you went to social media with it, we probably could have caught the guy. I think there is good leads to it, because there was several descriptions of the truck, the trailer. But again, see something, please let us know. Don't just share it on Facebook. I mean, it's fine to do so after the fact, but we can get a lot more done with making corrective actions towards perpetrators of illegal actions in our county if you would just contact us directly. I really appreciate it. Thank you again, Commissioner May. Business involving guest groups or multiple visitors. Any? All right. Then went over our public hearing. Consider approving the 2024 millage rate. Is there any discussions on that? We'll vote on that in a little while. I think we've all discussed this primarily in detail. The only thing that set us back from voting a week or so ago was the advertisement being a day late. But no worries, we're still in compliance, and we'll move forward here in a little while.
Do you need to invite public comment, or are we already satisfied with that?
Public comment. We've already done public comment, but we
Okay.
ran the ad again for it to be another public hearing to be sure we met all the DOR requirements.
Oh, okay, so this is a public hearing
Yes, sir.
tonight. Okay,
Yeah,
so
so I
this is
said we'll
for,
open the public hearing, consider approving.
Oh,
If anybody's got any discussion, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
No.
When you said discussion, I thought you meant the board up here.
No, I
You meant
meant
the public out here.
discussion.
Okay.
Anyone here to discuss the proposed millage rate? All right. Now, we'll close that and move on to the public hearing. Actions on zoning matters.
We'll vote on it now.
Who's already on the back?
Well, that's
the budget.
budget.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's budget resolutions. I apologize. We'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion on the 2025-24 millage rate resolution.
Move this resolution to approve it.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner May. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Commissioner Adams?
Yes.
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 And I'll go ahead and pass on the signature sheet to the board.
While they're signing, gentlemen, you'll notice in your packets, we have new maps, new colored maps, thinking that it might be a little bit easier to understand the adjoining property owners. I'm really appreciative of the zoning office that's done that. It does make it a little simpler to acknowledge versus the black and white that we had in the past. Got it. Mr. Scott?
Yes, sir.
Public hearing on actions on zoning matters, sir.
All right. Good evening, gentlemen. Ladies. Number one, Charles and Sandra Langford are requesting rezone their 10-acre from A2 to AR to split and sell approximately 5-acre portion, as they would be retaining the 5 acres where they currently reside. The property is located at 544 Pine Tree Road in Janesville, map 56, parcel 1.5 in District 2. There was no public hearing, there was no one for or against this particular rezone request. The planning and zoning recommend approval with a 6-0 vote.
Thank you, sir. Mr. and Mrs. Langford? Yes. Are you comfortable with that? Or would you have anything to add, sir?
No, I just, done got old and ain't able to take care of it. The reason I want to get rid of it, can't take care of it anymore.
I understand completely, sir. Question before you sit down, did the road department come out there after your last request?
No, sir, it hadn't yet.
I'll follow up with it in the morning.
All right, appreciate it.
Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
Will this rezone request be approved as presented?
I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Adams. Gentlemen, any discussion? Hearing none. Commissioner Chandler?
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion carries.
Question number 2, William Bill Sargent is requesting a dual rezone for his 18.36 acres from A1 to AR/A2. He is requesting to rezone 4-acre portion of from A1 to AR to split it and give to his son. He's requesting to rezone the remaining acreage from A1 to A2 to bring the property in compliance with zoning regulations. The property is located at 0 Highway 98 West in Commerce on map 11, parcel 101-02 in District 1. At the public hearing, there was no one for or spoken in favor or against this rezone request. The planning and zoning voted 6-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sargent, is there anything you'd like to add to that, or are you comfortable with that presentation?
I'm comfortable with it.
All right, sir. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
I make a motion that this rezone request be approved as noted.
A motion by Commissioner Adams, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chandler. Gentlemen, any other discussion? Commissioner May?
Yes. 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 Yes.
All right, motion carries, sir.
Our next rezone request was withdrawal was George Smith and Peggy Luke requested to rezone 5-acre portion of the 84.21 acre, but this was a withdrawal. So move on to the next one. Number 4, Dallas Stovall, applicant for David Coral, executive for the Gene Coral Estate, is recommending to rezone a 5-acre portion of the 64.85 acres from A1 to AR to split and sell, and the remaining acreage will stay in the A1 zone. The property is located on 0 Macedonia Church Road in Danielsville on map 51, parcel 22-01 in District 2. There was no opposition, no one spoke in favor of or in opposition to. Planning and zoning recommended the Board of Commissioners 6-0 vote for approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Stovall. Mr. Cole? All right. can move forward. Gentlemen, anyone here speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here speak in opposition to this rezone request? All right, hearing none, we'll bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
Would this rezone request be approved as today?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner Kirk. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Kirk.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. All right.
Okay, number 5. Elizabeth McElhenney, and I apologize if I said that wrong, is requesting to rezone her 5.01 acre from A1 to AR to allow a second home to be placed on the property as an accessory dwelling unit for her son. The property is located at 593 Duncan Swindle Road in Commerce on map 11, parcel 39-12A in District 1. There was no one to speak for or in opposition. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. We had a call earlier today. She would not be present due to emergency gallbladder surgery, but did want to carry through with the vote. I think I sent an email, said it was going to be withdrew. I was incorrect. But anyway, no one's here to represent her. But anybody in here speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone by hearing opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that this rezone request be denied.
I have a motion by Commissioner Adams. Gentlemen, do we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second by Commissioner Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen?
As an explanation of my motion, I went and looked at this property, and if I understand it correctly, these homes are on a private drive or a private road. And please correct me if I'm wrong here, but it appears that there are three or four parcels on this road. And if there's already an accessory dwelling on one of the parcels, there's a vacant lot, and it will allow an accessory dwelling to be placed on this parcel. What happens if someone comes in and wants to put a home on the vacant lot?
So I do remember now, I came up at the planning commission meeting, so the private drive requirement for zoning purposes is for lots. So an ADU is another house on the same lot, so it wouldn't have an effect on that. And so those, whatever lot, if there's a private drive, this is not creating a new lot on a private drive. If there's more than 4 lots already on a private drive, I assume it was pre-zoning, pre-regulations.
So that these cannot be divided again?
These cannot be divided, that's correct.
If that be the case, can I withdraw my motion?
All right. Or would it be easier, instead of, because I got a second, would it be easier to do a substitute motion?
But I can't do that.
No. Typically, as long as you can withdraw a motion if there's no objection from any other commissioner.
Okay. This particular one also is the only one, it looks like it actually would have road frontage on both ends of that lot, based off this little drawing I've got here, but that's fine. So I have a motion by Commissioner Adams to withdraw his original motion.
Not a motion, but a request.
A
So we can
request.
ask if there's any
No
objection
request.
from any of the commissioners.
No, Jeff.
Right. All right.
All right, then I would make a motion that this request be approved with the understanding that these lots in question cannot be subdivided.
All right. I have a motion by Commissioner Adams,
I'll second it.
second by Commissioner Kirk. Gentlemen, any further discussion?
I just want to check with Mr. Scott. That is what we discussed at planning commission, right?
I was not present.
Oh, you weren't present. That's right. It is. Let it stand.
All right. Since I hear no other discussion, Commissioner Doster.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Tammy Clark is requesting to rezone her 7.46 acres from A2 to AR to allow a second home to be placed on the property as an accessory dwelling unit for her sister. The property is located at 1470 Young Harris Road in Danielsville on map 20, parcel 13 in District 2. The public hearing was held. No one came forward in favor or in opposition. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended to the Board of Commissioners for approval by a 6-0 vote.
All right, thank you, sir.
Did y'all discuss the existing home that's there to be removed? Has there been a demolition permit pulled on that? What assurances do we have that that is going to occur? Does that need to be in the conditions?
Lee, do you remember?
It was discussed, and the applicant said that, that the ones that's supposed to be demoed would only be there temporarily till the new one's built, and then the transition would take place. I don't know that we set a time frame to it or anything like that.
If my memory serves, I think it said a building permit would be required for the second home. So that could not be issued until
So that one is removed.
correct. So really no need for a condition.
Perfect. Good question.
Ms. Clark,
Yes.
are you comfortable with the presentation, ma'am? Or would you have anything to add to that?
No.
All right.
Did you understand we were just discussing about that house to be demolished? An additional building permit cannot be issued until that one is removed.
Okay, but there's gonna be two houses on the lot. The one's gonna stay there until the second home is built, but I don't understand what the process is. We have to
It would not be,
So you could build your first home, and then once that first home is built, before you can pull permits to build your second home, you'll have to demo the old home that you plan on demoing.
How can two different families live there then if the home is demoed before the second home can go up?
so there's already one home on it, and you're asking to put two more on it. Okay, we were thinking there was two homes.
No,
There can only be two with the accessory, with the accessory dwelling. There can be the primary dwelling and the accessory.
Correct.
Yes, but what she's stating is the old home's currently there, and you're wanting to build two new homes. Before you build the first home, or the second home, must demo the first home, unless, are y'all living in that home now?
There is somebody living there, yes.
Is
My
it one of
sister's
these
living
two
there.
people?
My sister's living there.
So would a variance to allow that would that be?
Well, I'm just sitting here thinking, you know, as I say that, I don't know what the building inspection's policy is on enforcing that. They could either not issue the building permit, or they could issue the permit but not the CO.
Not an occupancy permit.
Well, I think we've ran into this in the past, and once they issue the CO for the final home, the second home, at that point, they extend X amount of days for the first home to be removed.
That was my understanding. Once the second home goes up, there's a certain amount of time to demo.
That one has to be tore down. That's normally what's issued by the building inspection office. So
Okay.
they give you 90 days to remove it if it was an older trailer or whatever, but it cannot be occupied after the completion of the CO of the second home.
Correct.
Or either one, yeah,
Right.
second home.
Okay.
All right. He'll be up here in a
For the
minute.
sake of, but for the conversation though,
Yeah.
is if somebody and I'm not saying they would, I'm just saying somebody in the future or whatnot, what if somebody failed to remove the original structure? Are we requiring a bond or some sort of an enforcement mechanism to assure compliance, I guess?
Well, I'm not trying to convolute this one because there's 2 new homes coming, but let's picture it as if there's let's just say one single wide there and you're trying to build a new home. We would let you build your new home and then you got to remove the single wide. Not trying to expand the context of it, but that's really what we're doing. I can get Eddie on the phone and get him up here quite fast because he's waiting on us anyway.
To answer your question, to the best of my knowledge, we don't have a bond on that.
They're only enforceable by penalties if that home is not vacated.
Yeah, I do citations for a zoning violation, potentially having to go to Superior Court for an injunction for a judge to order it be removed. Does seem like there could be some measures there that would make it every week better than that.
And maybe it's something, you're not trying to convolute this issue, but something for consideration.
I'm almost positive they have a policy that is 90, I want to say it's 90 days, but I want to hear Eddie tell us directly. But he is in his office, so he's on his way up. Hey, that was fast. I felt like, quick question, sir. Did you run? Thank you.
No, I always look like this.
Come up for a second. We have a question for you. So if we had I know we've dealt with it in the past, I just don't recall. So if you've got an existing structure and somebody's wanting to build a new structure and then planning on demo in the first structure?
Yes, and so after the CO is issued, typically give them like 60 days to remove the previous home.
So we require any?
If they don't, then we issue citations and we go to court.
Okay, if you go to court on fines.
Correct, they'll be issued citations for having violation of zoning ordinance and having too many homes on the property.
All right, thank you for the clarity, sir.
So they can build both homes and then demo the third home, the original.
Okay.
Missed the whole
first part of the conversation, so.
So right here, if they're wanting to rezone this property to allow ADUs, they're gonna build 2 new homes while they're living in the existing home.
Okay, so they'll remove the third, the first home, and have an ADU.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that how that works
That
for
would,
you?
yes, that would work. That would just have, like I said, 60 days after the CO was issued to remove the first home.
The original.
That's the
It's 2
issue.
sisters.
Yeah,
That's the issue, Eddie, that we're gonna end up with 2 new ones and move 1 old one, and we're like, do away.
yeah, so we can do it on the third home, yes. It's kind of a unique situation, to do 2 at the same time, one of them being ADU.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a violation until that third one's not removed, so it would be whatever days after the CO on the second one.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anyone else, you understand now? You're good? That's exactly what you said.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I wasn't going to admit it. Okay, you're good. All right. Anyone else here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. General, I entertain a motion.
Move this request be approved as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner May. Any other discussion, General? Hearing none, Commissioner Adams.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for the clarity. It's sort of uncommon to have 2 homes going at the same time on the same parcel during the zone. Thank you. Mr. Scott?
All right, Ronald Park is requesting a dual rezone for his 10.68 acres from A1 to R1/AR. He's requesting to rezone an approximate 4-acre portion to be rezoned from A1 to R1, to split in approximately 2-acre splits to sell, and requesting to rezone the remaining acreage from A1 to AR to bring the property to compliance with zoning regulations. The property is located at 205 Charles Hart Road in College on map 58, parcel 130 in District 5. There was no one to come forward in favor or in opposition to this particular rezone request. The board voted to approve the rezoning of approximately 4-acre portions of rezone A1 to split into approximately 2 acre split to sell and to rezone the remaining acreage from A1 to AR and to bring it to compliance with zoning regulations. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Everhart,
Yes.
are you comfortable with that presentation, or anything you'd like to add, sir?
No, I'm comfortable.
All right. Anyone else here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the rezone request.
Motion by Commissioner Doster,
Second.
second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Just for the board's information, I received 0 calls, no one's concerned on this, so.
Just a question on the frontage, is that, I know that's an approximate drawing, 100 feet, is that meet our numbers?
Yes, because, there's public water on this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's outside City of College.
Yeah, just on the edge.
This is where the colored map comes in handy too. This is a great explanation of it. Good job. All right, gentlemen, no other discussion? Commissioner Chapman?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Motion carries.
We got, Terry Woods. I got more. Yep. Terry Wood, applicant for the Dawes and Betty Wood Estate, is requesting to rezone a 4.64 acre portion of the 16 acres from A2 to AR to be split for inheritance purposes, and the remaining acres will stay in the A2 zone. The property is located at 200 Woods Road in Dainesville on map 11, parcel 123 in District 1. In the public hearing, there was no one for or against this particular rezone request. Planning and zoning voted 6-0 to recommend approval.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Wood?
Yes, sir.
Are you comfortable with that presentation, or is there anything you'd like to add, sir?
That sounds good.
All right, thank you. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that this rezone request be approved as stated.
A motion by Commissioner Adams, gentlemen.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Doster. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner May.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have to leave under your new business, number 9. You're gonna be considering the preliminary plat for the Rose Golf Course portion.
Yes, sir.
We, the planning and zoning, entertained this at our meeting last week.
Mm-hmm.
And, our attorney, when you get to that part of it, will explain what happened at the planning and zoning and what our recommendation was.
All right. So, gentlemen, moving into old business, consider approving the 2025 budget and budget resolutions. I don't need to read this whole thing out loud, but
Oh, no.
I don't think so. So, wait. Thank you,
I
Mr.
give you
Scott.
$10 left.
Sir. No.
This is accurate reflection of the discussions we had.
Yes, this will be the budget for, the total expenditures and revenues is $26,442,738 is what, is the budget numbers will be approving. This is exactly what's been presented to you. The reason why the resolution was pushed out is the same reason for the millage rate and the advertisement requirements. You have to have a public hearing within so many days, advertised for so many weeks in the paper.
That had been satisfied with.
Yes, sir.
So you ready for a motion to approve the budget resolution?
Yes, sir.
Will you approve it?
Motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner Kurt. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Kurt.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you all. Discuss the implementation of the ordinance, for standard operating procedure for the corn.
This is the same, copy that you got last time. I just cleaned up the colors and took out the words that we are wanting to remove. That was just an internal edit. So we haven't changed anything. There was some stuff the attorney had looked at and changed on the vacancies in office, which is the last page. There were some other things that we had changed with the storing of the vehicle locations for the coroner. So if anybody has any questions, still let me know what you have questions on, what you want to see changed, but you will, vote on this at the end of the month.
All this has been run by the, this will be going into effect January 1, and it has been looked at by the new elect coroner. All right, gentlemen, new business. Consider the preliminary plat for the Rose Golf Course.
Is that number 8?
Number 8. Oh, I'm sorry, I did skip one. Consider the Northwood Circle Infrastructure Improvement Project 2025 Community Block Grant. I think everyone has a copy of the map showing Northwood Circle coming off of Highway 106 on Griffith Road and then again off Stone Stewart. We reached out Thursday, spoke with Mark Beatty. He put this map together, Northeast Georgia Regional Commission. Felt like this was a great project for Madison County's waterline extension for serving homes. I think everybody submitted different lists of different water lines, but a lot of those were rejected due to the necessity or the need to be able to service homes, that this was the best one that they've completed so far. And gentlemen, all we're going to do tonight is vote to move forward with the grant application for this water line. I do need a motion, sir.
I make a motion to approve the application.
Motion by Commissioner Adams.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kurt. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Just for clarity,
Yes, sir.
the application will include the complete loop of Northwood Circle, just because on this map shows the existing, it's inferior and it needs to be replaced. I don't want that confused with the main line control and 6.
That is 100% correct, sir. It is for the loop of completion. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Mr. Duffy, I think so, you, sir.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Now, consider the preliminary plat for the Rose Golf Course portion. Some things came to light after the P&Z meeting. I spoke with Ms. Kelly Henson at the Health Department, and there was a little bit of confusion from what we were requesting from our P&Z office to what actually can be provided from the Health Department. So the routine checklist that we currently have at the department, at our P&Z office, requires a signature, certified signature sign off by Department of Health saying to move forward. That does not exist for golf courses and or such. We found out later, after Mr. Archer sent a letter saying where you had completed your portion for this portion, is the reason that P&Z did not have a signed copy from the Department of Health. It did not fall under the subdivision regs nor under a particular business reg. So in speaking to Ms. Henson, she said there's nothing for me to be able to produce to give you all to be able to move forward. Now, there would be on the residential side, but not on this particular golf course side.
There's not a business capacity for the clubhouse, restaurant, what, I mean, that,
There
take the
is,
golf course out, you still got a building with.
there is, she stated due to the magnitude of the amount of property, the 259 acres, that she knew there was no way that there was not 259, based off of Mr. Archer's preliminary reviews, there was not 259 acres worth of unusable soil. But there wasn't anything she'd give us in writing for a specific location. She actually, I think I sent y'all a copy of, I think it was a screenshot of, or I'm sorry, not a screenshot, but of their text law as to why she could not produce that. At that time.
Would it help if Mr. Archer?
Yeah, sure. Mr. Philip Archer, he's the one that done it. If you'd like to maybe try to explain maybe what I didn't explain very well.
Yes,
This is your line of work. Sorry.
In the environmental, in the Georgia septic manual, subdivision is considered a split, 5 or more lots. This checklist just is not, doesn't pertain to what they're doing. Now, I understand what you're saying about it being a commercial use. But this is not zoned commercial, it's the A2 zoning. And at the time of the preliminary plat review, they had not settled on an exact location of the clubhouse. Now that has been done, I have the information. I'm going to do the level 3 soil survey, in fact, this week. But in terms of the preliminary plat, it's not required by environmental health to have any kind of sign-off. Now, once the subdivision comes, we'll do the level 3 soil survey, that gets reviewed and submitted. But the way this process works, environmental health doesn't get involved until an application for a septic permit is, that has been given to the county. I've done a level 1 of preliminary soil review on this. Initially, the area that they've picked out for the drain field is going to be fine. We've got to go through the motions and doing the proper checklist items per the Georgia septic manual. But I got Kelly involved because there was just a lot of confusion. There was confusion on my end as well. But like I said, she went to the manual, and because of the wording in the manual, this is technically not a subdivision, then there's nothing for her to sign off on.
Thank you, Mr. Archer. One of the other things that she brought up was after 13 years, this is the first time she'd heard of it. But it's also probably the first time in our history we've ever dealt with something on this magnitude. So
it's because we did this split zone.
It is.
Single parcel, which we won't do in the future with the city, but.
Well, it would be something that we need to adjust our checklist per specific items prior to. But anyway, it has been taken care of, I'm glad to say. We're very fortunate to have Ms. Henson in this county.
Is it your intent, Philip, well, I guess this is a question to you. It is your intent that you'll separate the grease waste from the sanitary waste?
Yes, sir.
Have 2 separate drain fields?
I don't know about that. I know we will have to separate them, and we'll have a grease trap, but I don't know about if we have 2 separate drain fields.
No, so you'll have a grease trap upstream of the septic tank. So typically, the effluent from the kitchen area flows through that grease trap then to the septic tank. And then any other effluent that comes from sinks, washing machine goes directly to the septic tank because it doesn't
need to run through the grease interceptor.
All right. Any other questions, gentlemen? I've asked, well, I didn't ask Philip to be here. I was shocked. I'm glad you came. I asked Matt to be here in case there was any question. I know, in a preliminary conversation the other day, and I think it was more of a plan review we looked at, myself and Commissioner Adams looked at your plans for the clubhouse. And, I think your intent is to start pouring concrete and potential footings next month.
In November.
November, that's right.
Yes, sir.
November.
No, we looked at a location, we didn't, just
That was
to
a-
clarify, we didn't look at any plans.
No, it was a different meeting. Y'all brought back in for myself and Eddie to look at the drawings of the clubhouse. So, two different meetings. All right. So is there, Mike, from Mr. Scott, anything?
Yeah, at least it is. So the planning commission vote was 4-3 to approve. I think the questions were about this issue, if I remember correctly. Is that, I'm looking at Lee. You were there, weren't you?
I think for the most part, that's the case.
Yeah.
That's not why I voted in that negative.
All right. All right, just
4-3. Could have been that.
I think it was 2
4-2.
against. Was it like
4-2.
Oh, okay. No, it was only 4-3. All right, 4-2 then.
He forgot he wasn't there, huh?
He forgot he wasn't there.
All right, gentlemen.
So what was the reason for the dissent vote?
My issue had to do with the process, not the plat. I was okay with the plat. Matt made it clear that his main concern was he wanted to know if the layout was generally okay, so he could move ahead with the drain field in relation to the clubhouse, that kind of thing. My issue was, and the way I understand that we're supposed to do this is, there are points in the preliminary plat approval process that we need to go through, as well as the 19 conditions that you all have placed on it. And so in going through those, I had some questions or some clarifications, mostly as a check and balance, to ask. And Mike reminded the group that the P&Z staff needs to be trusted to go through these and to make sure everything's accounted for and it's there and so forth, which is fine. I did have a couple of questions about some things, but after that was mentioned, I didn't ask anymore. For example, it did note in the checkoff that a stormwater management plan had been submitted, which I understand today. I don't even know if it's appropriate for this, but it was submitted. So there's one that says, it was there when it wasn't. So, there was just some things in the process that I wanted to double check on, but I just kind of dropped it. Against it.
Just so I understand, it has been submitted, the stormwater management plan.
As of today, no. I talked to Tracy and she said no, that was inadvertently marked as present when it was not present.
Matt, how far along are y'all in the process of producing that? And let me say this, and I know you're aware of it. If, per se, this was being constructed in Gwinnett County, then I'm devil's advocate here.
Right.
From on your side.
And I wouldn't say that.
But if this were in Gwinnett County, prior to any footings being poured or mass grading related to the structure, not the golf course, but the structure, that stormwater pond would be in place and approved. Isn't that pretty accurate?
So in Gwinnett County, like, this preliminary plat process is a little bit different. Which Gwinnett, I don't even think has a preliminary plat process. I know Roswell does. But before we even submit our land disturbance plans that will have the full-blown stormwater, we have locations for them on here. And we've submitted a 3-phase erosion plan to the state with the temporary sediment ponds that will be installed prior to mass grading. That process has already gone through. But when it comes to like a preliminary plat, it's not typical that the ponds or even designed or installed prior to a preliminary plat approval. This is just the understanding I have in other municipalities as well. When you do a preliminary plat, it's just showing that the locations kind of line up with the zoning and the layout, and based off of that, you could receive comments in the preliminary plat process, which those comments could in turn cause alterations to the full-blown set of land disturbance plans. And so before we finalize land disturbance plans, we need to know that the commission's good with our preliminary plat.
So, am I to understand then that you won't start foundations and footings until the stormwater ponds are in place?
We'll have temporary stormwater ponds that the state is approving that have to be installed for our full grading operation. So yes, they will be installed prior to getting footings going.
Okay.
I think that's a requirement of our building inspection portion.
Right, correct.
Anything 5,000 square feet or larger, stormwater kicks into place.
Yeah,
So
you disturb.
that'll have to be submitted before we would issue any building plans.
Well, if I understand correctly from the big dig things, which is qualified for, that's beyond just 5,000 foot of building, that
Yeah, now they'll have a-
impervious surface.
Correct. They'll have a land disturbance permit through EPD anyway. And then when, as far as the structure or any, impervious surface is gonna kick it over into stormwater. So it's not just gonna be the roof structure, it's also gonna be parking lots.
The main thing, and here again, my end goal on this is not to have one of the folks that were so adamantly against y'all doing this over there, coming in here and saying, your mud's on.
Right, yes, sir.
Correct.
No, absolutely. We're having to go through the state on all those plans because Madison County is not a local issuing authority relative to,
But the phone call, what I'm getting at, Matt.
Yes, sir, I
Is the
understand
phone
that.
call when the red mud hits that creek,
Yes,
ain't
sir.
gonna beat you.
Well, I do get them, but yeah, you're definitely gonna get one as well, so.
You can bet on that.
And then I'll probably be your second call, but,
You can bet on that.
right. So, I'm fully aware. Yes, sir.
All right. All right, gentlemen, thank you, sir.
No problem.
All right, gentlemen.
So Lee, you brought that up, Lee, that's something, based on this conversation, it really should not be in that preliminary plat check.
Yeah, and, you know, and so we've talked about really three different things here. So, like Matt says, since Madison County is not an issuing authority, the soil disturbance permit, land disturbance permit goes through EPD. That applies to anything over an acre. Now, we have our own local stormwater management ordinance, and it has some additional requirements and some lower thresholds, and that's what Eddie administers. And then with the third thing, in our subdivision regs on the content of the preliminary plat, one of the things is a statement of the proposed major drainage provisions and proposed sewage disposal plans to be reviewed by county health department or where required by other representatives of Georgia EPD. I don't know quite how that fits in a preliminary plat either.
If that's a subdivision, it's not really apply either.
Exactly, right. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing that sort of came out of the planning commission is, since we're only talking about this portion, it's really not a subdivision yet anyway.
We may not even really have a legitimate requirement for preliminary plat.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
That's correct.
If we're looking at this as just this portion.
Correct, yes, sir.
And Matt, I hope you understand that there's a lot of reasons that this was scrutinized so heavily, even though, you don't have to come up, even though we went outside the box with a lot of our questions that really didn't pertain, like Mike just said. But it's only because we wanted to make sure that as much due diligence was took on taxpayers' behalf as possible.
Right, absolutely. No.
And I know we come at you hard a lot of times, but there was good reason, even though some of it was just questions asked, no other meaning.
I'm good. I'm not disputing any of it, so.
By the way, you have one of the best builders in the country sitting in the room, just so you know.
Perfect.
And the lady in the back. I didn't call no names, I just let y'all know. That's all he says. So we ain't gonna call no names. All right, gentlemen.
Matt, well, I guess we're doing Q&A versus.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
I took a little numbers, it just seemed like, going from the concept map, and I realize, you know, general compliance is a subjective term, but it seems like things have migrated a little further towards the demarcation line than was originally anticipated. Like, the original drawing had like one maintenance shed on it, now we got two. Some of the overflow parking is pushing, you know, breaching over into what I was considering kind of the subdivision side. And you walk me through some of that?
Absolutely. The maintenance sheds is showing two. They're square footage wise, I think we're actually smaller on those two. We're just honing in the use, and that's kind of part of this process is as you develop your plans, you hone in on your building sizes and turnarounds and make sure you have the proper access to get trucks in and out the buildings, things like that. And then same goes for the parking lot is just as we're laying things out, the parking lot shifted a little bit more to going across the gas easement. And a lot of that is just going to be overflow parking that we don't even intend to have much more than grass on.
So the overflow parking is going to be something like grass paved, right?
A lot of it will be, yeah, because we only need it at certain times of the year. So we won't need to really pave that many parking spots, which will be calculated in on our hydro study as well that will be submitted.
Now and then the access drive coming straight to the maintenance shed, is this 24-foot wide access drive, are y'all intending that to be part of the road network for the entire development, or is that just?
It'll be part of the,
right now.
Right now, it's mainly just to get employees to and from the maintenance facility, because that's where they'll park. And then as the residential portion gets developed, the road network will, you know, probably be laid out a little bit differently, and we'll be back in here with the subdivision layout to hone in exactly how we'll access through the residential.
So I guess really, I'm just thinking about this, and it may not be an answer yet. So when we do the second part, will that be a separate preliminary plat standalone, or will it be an amendment to this plat to add those features? I think it probably.
I'm pretty flexible. I can do it either way, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking an amendment just because some of this will change even on the lower portion.
I would agree.
That's fine.
Any other questions for Matt? All right. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
Let's see Commissioner Dawson's question on the access road to Button's buildings, because it would appear that intersects part of, would be expected to be part of the subdivision development.
Essentially, the road going to the maintenance shed is just going to be a construction drive.
That's what we'll start that's right, we'll have our construction drive there, and then ongoing use will be employees to get to the parking, and then anything associated with the maintenance side of the golf course. And then also adds a direct line for fire access as well.
Any other questions, gentlemen? All right. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion is preliminary plat be approved.
A motion by Commissioner Dawson, second by Commissioner May. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Commissioner Adams, it's on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, consider a camper permit extension for Alvin Charles Armour in District 2. Eddie?
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, buddy. John, great job. No. All right. What we got?
This is regarding a permit extension for a camper. Some things to note on this, this does go back a good ways. This goes back to 2015. It was permitted about a year and a half ago. Again, it's been permitted and re-permitted several times, but it was re-permitted about a year and a half ago. Mr. Armour came in about 6 months ago and came before the board and requested an extension, and the board agreed him another 6-month extension on this. Currently, the structure is in the dry, and he has gotten permanent power as of last week. And that's where we're at.
All right. So, sir, you have permanent power as of right now, so I'm assuming there's no need in the camper extension.
Well, the problem is I got a final inspection. I didn't know about the final inspection, to be honest with you. But, the drywall's up in it, all the electrical's done on it. It's got water in the house, but honestly, it's still not livable. Would you say that?
Correct. The structure has just, when we put permanent power on it, it doesn't necessarily mean all the fixtures are in place. Anything, it's just electrically safe to cut the power on. Currently, he is working on the porches. There's no drywall upstairs, and there are no fixtures, electrical fixtures or plumbing fixtures so it's still a good little ways away from the permanency of the issue.
Yes, about halfway through, but all the new stuff there for the shower, the bathtubs, the toilet, all brand new stuff, the sink, all that's there. It's just got to be installed, but they couldn't do it until they finished the sheet rock.
Gotcha.
You know,
So, I don't need to remind you that we are far from overreaching on this one.
oh yeah, I know you are. There's no doubt in my mind about it. But so, you know, if you remember when we come up last time, you know, I was staying in Tennessee a lot. I mean, you know, I'm not going to say a lot. And so I have been working on house. And I'm just guessing there's $70,000-$80,000 into it, you know, so I'm too poor to stop. And this, you know, when we mention camper now, I'm not living in a 6-foot camper. I'm living in a 38-foot camper to slide out. It's a big camper, but it's still a camper.
Yeah.
I don't care how you look at it. But, I mean, right, you know, but, anyway, you know, but I wanted to try to request another 6-month extension because I have nowhere else to go anyway, so. And if we have to move off the property, that's gonna stop the work on the house, period. I mean, there's no way I can pay rent on the house, $1,500 a month, and try to finish this house. I mean, I'm really just kind of throwing my hands in mercy for 6 more months, you know.
Weren't you handling something, with family or something, and that's why you were having to go back and forth or something?
My wife's daddy was, my wife's mama died. Well, then he was a veteran, and he got really, really bad sick. So she couldn't just stay up there by herself, so I was having to run back and forth to help take care of him. I mean, this guy weighed 340 pounds, you know, I mean, you see how tiny my wife is. So I'd have to go up there and help take care of him, and then at the end of it there, it got really bad, so I really just had to move up there, you know, for a while to stay there with him, because he couldn't walk. You know, he had some kind of muscle disease, destroyed his muscle, and he couldn't walk. So we would have to help him to the, you know, restaurant, whatever you got to do. You know what I mean?
Are you employed back in Georgia now?
I've always been employed in Georgia. I don't want to move out of Georgia, but yeah, I mean, I got a small little shop now. But see, I mean, I'm 65 years old, man. So I can't do the work I used to do. I don't have no employees or anything like that. You know, I just work on an old car every now and then.
Well, I can't envision this board giving a 6-month. They might give you a 3-month. I mean,
3 months.
Just to be honest.
Well, hey, anything's better than nothing.
But I mean, that's gonna require some buckling down and getting it done, because I think we're so far in it now.
Yeah, I know it. And see, I mean, I can't blame you. You know, I mean, I'm standing here before you, I know, but I know it's going on for 8 years now, really. And, so, I mean, you know, I ain't holding nobody I ain't holding nothing against anybody. And I tell you, if it wasn't for code enforcement, Eddie and all them, I'd probably still be in a mess with it because, you know, they did help me out for it, telling me, like I said, I had to go back and rip hot water lines out, ripped every wire in the whole house out and rewired the entire structure. I mean, you know, but all this was before though, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've done everything everybody's told me that I needed to do.
All right, gentlemen.
And you feel comfortable with progress being made, is an indication that we are moving in the right direction?
He is making progress. It is slow, but he is moving forward. I've seen more progress in the last, year or so than previous years, so, he is, like I said, moving forward. He does only have to have one more inspection, that's his final inspection, so he's up to the finishing touches at this point.
You feel comfortable, do you think you'd be done in 3 months?
I can try my best to. I'll have to call some people in, you know, to try to get it done, because I'll never finish it by myself in 3 months.
Well,
I mean, I
Eddie, can you explain to him what has to be done for it to be livable? Like, you don't have to have the crown mold done, you don't have to have
Yeah,
the
we're not looking for
baseboards, you don't have to have the walls painted, but it's gotta be
Doesn't have
livable.
I'm not worried about anything cosmetic. We're only worried about code issues,
Yes.
electrical safety, GFIs, smoke detectors,
Yeah.
guardrails, that type of stuff.
That type of stuff.
So that, you know, that's what you want to
You
prioritize.
can paint for the next 3 years if you want, you can run doors.
Yeah,
I'm just
I've
saying,
been in my house
pick
almost
your
30 years
priorities.
and I still got room to paint, so.
I hear you. But mostly just bring it up to code, so,
If you get him satisfied in 3 months, we're gonna be satisfied.
okay, that sounds good to me.
Well, first I gotta get votes on that.
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go.
No, I ain't the one that's voting.
There's no
I'm
jumping
just
gun
going
here.
to That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Any other questions, for Mr. Homer? All right, gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
Eddie, do you object to us going ahead and going to 6, or do we feel trapped if we go up with another 6? But understand that the answer after that's not, it's gonna be no.
Yes, sir. And I don't mind paying, I'll pay the permit money for the
You know,
camera.
there is a fee to extend it, so.
Yeah, I mean, I have to pay.
Yeah.
Well, I move we grant it a 6-month extension.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner
The
Chandler.
last one.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, second by Commissioner Kurt. Any other discussion, gentlemen?
I'm only going along with 6 months because we got holidays in there, so.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. No, you don't know how much I appreciate it. So I know you didn't have to.
All right, any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Adams, it's on you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Mr.
Tom.
Good.
Yes, sir.
I don't expect we'll be seeing you again.
I hope not. But I would like to see you around though.
He's not here. Just send us a housewarming invitation.
Okay, do I come up here and redo the capital permit or?
You'll just come to our office and.
Come to your office.
Pay the fee.
Okay.
We'll do that tomorrow.
All right, but thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank y'all very much.
Yes, sir.
You don't know how much I do appreciate it.
Consider a camper permit extension for Sylvia Podlack, District 1. Hey, buddy, how are you
Hey,
doing?
I'm present.
Nice to meet you,
Nice to meet y'all.
This one goes back to, I believe, 23. He is making progress. Permitted a storage building that was completed and finalized. There's a TNR that has had to be extended already one time, I believe, already before. And this was a modular structure, cabin.
Oh, small cabin, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there were some issues getting materials and getting the structure here. He does have the structure on site. It is pretty much in the dry, so he is in the process of moving towards the rough end inspection. And that's where we're at this point.
Would you have a recommendation to the BOC?
I'm good with extending this one another 6 months.
I don't need that, but I appreciate it.
That would give him plenty of time, that way, just in case something happens. He's already got 6 months, and if he gets it done faster, that's even better.
Thank you, sir. All right, gentlemen, any questions from the board? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to extend this for 6 months with no further extension.
I don't wanna be in camper for more than that, I'll tell you that right now.
Second motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Adams, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Mr. Chandler? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all will be back.
While I'm standing up here, when we're talking about ADUs, I forgot to mention this. Typically what we do, when we do an ADU now, or, something where there's 2 homes on the property, that, when we issue that CO, and they've got that limited time to move the home, we issue a TCO. They pay a fee for that, and they've got a limited time that encourages them to
Temporary, yeah, the TCO.
temporary certificate of occupancy, and that gives them, that's done in 30-day increments. It can be extended, but, it has to be removed in order for the TCO to go permanent. Correct.
Do we need to amend what we talked about there then, that the CO?
Well, that's a procedural thing anyway, so it would.
Yeah, I don't think we
apply.
put any conditions in that one, so, yeah, so that's good, that's just,
That's just what your normal, what you'll do.
Correct, yes.
So that'd be good, yeah. One of the things that we did talk about is, or I mentioned, and not to convolute the vote tonight, we didn't do it, but, just a thought process. If it would be helpful, on some of these, issuing either irrevocable letter of credit from a bank or a bond or something, to kind of incentivize that, where you don't have to write tickets and go to court and wait, no.
And we did consider that. Actually, I think me and Mike actually may have briefly talked about this, doing some type of bond. But it was a little more complicated of a process, because then you can apply that to pretty much any situation. If somebody comes in and builds a house, and it'll get done in a certain time, would you be able to cash in that bond? You know what I'm saying? Typically, I think bonds are mostly issued now for, like, damage to the roads to cover things like that with moved-in houses. We consider doing that as well.
yeah, I mean, legally, I don't know if bonding companies would, I don't know if they would know what that is. But legally, I mean, a bank issues a letter of credit or an insurer issues a bond, the conditions are clearly defined. If they are not met, bond holder us calls it in.
We run into, we have so many bill it pay as we go folks in Madison County, and I'm not condemning that, because I did that too.
Yeah.
But there's no way that any of those would ever secure a bond, because they're not licensed. Most of them don't have credit to buy gas from week to week. So that would be a moot conversation to even go there. I mean,
I did look at that for moved-in houses, just because of road damage. When someone moved in a site-built house.
Yeah. I agree with Danny, though, most of them not gonna qualify.
How similar is that to the situation we do with like a timber harvest permit?
That's a road damage.
It's not really a bond, but we review it after they leave, and if they do damage, then they have to fix it.
Do we still have to get road, or the state law preempts us from doing bonds?
They messed it up bad.
Yeah, I remember the state.
It's, the timber harvesting deal right now is, I don't even know how the reporting works. If you're your own cutter, you don't have to apply for a timber harvesting permit anymore. You can go in and cut your own property, and I don't even know who determines the tax you're gonna pay, because you're the one that done your own cutting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all.
Forestry Commission is quite powerful, apparently, in Georgia.
It's very much so, to the point of good luck. Let us know what you think about it.
Yeah. Long story short, think about, I mean, I'm not saying, I use the word bond, there may be some other mechanism that would be beneficial to, as a stopgap, or maybe
We
just
had
a little
talked
bit
about
more.
that when we were looking at fees, so that is something.
I know, that was where I was fixing to go. I know in some municipalities, the building inspections office, if you come in and request an extension, or you let your building fee lapse, it's double, triple.
So that's covered right now in our current fees. You can extend a permit in 90-day increments, there is a fee. That was all done in January when you guys approved the previous fees. So that is in there, as well as TCOs, extensions on everything now have fees attached to them.
And honestly, I don't know the exact reason, but on the one we just heard from Mr. Armour, started in 2015, there was about 5 or 6 years until we followed up, we didn't have any code enforcement. We were too busy doing building inspection. That's really how it got from 2015 to 2022, when we recognized the problem.
Review fees part of that. I thought those looked off the load. It's just.
No, they were not.
Could you drop and get somebody to look at that?
Urgent matters, anyone?
Is this the part where we talk amongst ourselves about stuff? Because if it is, I would like to make a suggestion that due to the size of the development of the roads and basically the lack of understanding by staff and people on our P&Z committee, that we look to outsource review of that, provide us documentation for that particular project. Is simply too large and too complex for the people we have on board to handle.
On the golf course portion, sir, or the residential?
Both.
Ours supported to look at wise.
Do you want to take a formal vote on that?
Do I need to make a motion out of it?
That's up to you.
We don't have to, if the board agrees in a consensus, that's good enough.
Yeah, if you're satisfied with the chairman to follow through on that, then that's fine.
So,
I guess we would engage some, if not CPL, I don't know, if CPL is not right, we would engage some other engineering firm that could, right? Is that what we're saying?
That's what everybody's saying. I don't know that CPL.
I mean, they may not be the right one.
Yeah, I don't know that they're gonna be that people, that they are the people that do ordinances and zoning.
Right.
And what we're asking for is more of a land developer oversight guy, a project manager type guy to walk us through this.
So, our man over here might have some suggestions.
Yeah.
that he could help us with.
I mean, I'm open to any of them. I mean, we'll reach out and find out. I just don't think CPL is the person. for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that's sort of come out in our committee meeting, but I've been to a couple of them, the committee meetings I've been to on the UDC, that, there's a lot of references in there in the draft so far to permit processes and inspection processes that we don't have right now. So,
Yeah. Well, in this type of development, when you get over to the residential side, you're gonna follow building codes, you're gonna follow setbacks, you're gonna follow Department of Health. But now granted, if you're trying to look at it from the big picture of the overall development and see does it fit, it's already gonna fit the zoning because we've already approved it. So
yeah,
my question is, what questions
there's
do you
things
wanna
that
ask?
we don't require that I think we probably should. I mean, the direction we're moving in, you would expect to have development permits. Throw that one out there as the example, that's the one that comes to mind, that I think would carry, really, that's what Benny's talking about.
Yeah.
I got you. No, you're fine.
And then who we got should come with these suggestions, as like a consultant would and say, all right, this is what we're looking at the roads, we've learned from this that y'all need to have these procedures or processes. That would be good.
But there seems to be, and this is an observation, there seems to be some discord on the P&Z committee as a group, that some people are asking questions and some people are voting yes, regardless of what's said. And I think that at this stage, and don't get me wrong, the roads is a done deal. I'm not focusing on the roads, but next year when someone else comes into the county and wants to do a development similar to what's happening on Highway 29 and put units in, we need to have someone on board that's capable of analyzing that, presenting us what we've got in black and white, because that's what we're going to ask Mike to defend.
Yeah, I think the development, some of y'all may know better than I do, I think the development permit is an interim step typically between preliminary plat and final plat. part of overseeing that process of things getting installed correctly, seeing those, is that right?
It is, and I'll say even more than that, and I think what Denny's alluded to is, it's one thing to say we're gonna put X number of whatever's on it. And right now, it seems to be like if there's a checkbox down there that says you gotta put widget A on the checkbox, and they check the box, everybody's satisfied. But there's a whole notion and a whole staff somewhere that we don't have that can look at that and say, I see your attempt at that, but we're gonna have to maintain it, or we don't think that's, appropriate, or we disagree with your conclusion. There's a whole, just like plumbing and roads and everything else. Somebody, structural engineer, there's a whole component of it that, again, some of this stuff is subjective. Just because somebody comes in and says, we did this right here, doesn't mean it's the best and that we should be accepting that.
A classic example of this, and here to our friends at the roads, is to be told we approved a residential development, but we've got a clubhouse over here that's on A2 property that there's no way around, it's a business. They're gonna sell liquor by the drink, they're gonna sell food, it is a business.
It should have been a plan, it should have not been either A2, it should have been a PUD, not an A2 or R1.
Yeah.
But, that's part of what we're going through this process and correct for the future.
So anyway, that was my thoughts.
And to make it clear, I think that, ultimately, we don't wanna have all this going out to somebody all the time. We need to get on board and to get together where we've got somebody that works for Madison County that can handle this. And what all they cover, where it's planners or whatever you wanna call it, we need to have that person. We need to be working to figure out how we get that person. And it's probably inappropriate for me to add, but I will anyway. This is not to say that anything is wrong with this road's development. It's that we were not ready with our ordinance. That's right.
What they were bringing to the county.
But it will probably lead us to make some things that will, for the future, that will be much better.
So where we are right now, time-wise, in the CPO working on the UDC, is there a large enough gap here that we need to prepare ourselves for a potential proposal like this in the interim? And the reason I'm asking that question, the kind of engineering review that we're talking about here, number one, we don't have it in the ordinance anywhere that's required. So we just be arbitrarily almost, the next guy, you have to do this, even though our ordinance don't say to. And the other part of that is that's gonna cost a whole lot more than our permitting fees are.
That's why you need to restructure our fees so that you recover the cost.
Could you do this on a case-by-case basis, depending on the size of the project, whether or not you want to go third party, and not make that apply for everything across the board?
And that essentially is my question, as we pin the adoption of the UDC, is this a long enough window of time that we need to take some action to ensure that we're covered during this window?
So you're right, that topic has been brought up.
And how that needs, whether it's, if you're above 3 houses, then we have to go to whatever that statement is. But do we need to go ahead and take action on that?
Whether you want to keep somebody on staff for everything, for something that, that we're not always going to have projects of this scale.
This is the first one.
Or do we do it like we do with our council? We got somebody on retainer that.
Just like you do basically CPO. Right. Yeah.
Make it a condition of the project.
But I think the con, not that CPL can't do a job or we can ask them to do a job, I think continuously is not having somebody in this office who's going to be part of this community that can kind of absorb the community. They're trying to build a life here, or at least generally in the surrounding area, is vested in it. And then when they're asking questions, their comments, there are technical components of it, but again, a lot of stuff can be subjective, and that's where that narrative, where somebody can write a report, send it in, and say, here's my opinion. And no disrespect to the P&Z committee, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, here's an opinion by staff you know, they can do that on it, they still weigh in and provide their opinion. But you've got a vested staff person that's there, and, you know, when things come along, or things get busier, you can add staff, you know, you grow as you need. I think it's easier to outsource long-term. I think it's easier to outsource the technical side of it, the engineering, the non-subjective stuff. When somebody, I do it for other clients. They say, here's my manual, here's this, is this approved? And I give them a yes, no, and this is my suggested change. And after that, it's just, you know, it's up to that community to decide how they want to input or not.
Just keep in mind, for everyone to keep in mind, we are a little over 3.5 years into a brand new world that Madison County never saw. Just to be honest, we've reinvented the whole wheel for Madison County in 3.5 years. Comp plan, CPL, ordinance rewrites. I mean, no disrespect to anybody previous in this board, chairman, anybody else, but we were way behind the times. We are now, here we are, to a whole new level because we made those certain steps. We took the initiative to go out with a good comp plan. We took the initiative to go out and write ordinances. These are the things that's evolved. The roads was sort of the anchor that threw out there that we wasn't expecting, the magnitude. Had that particular one not come along, we will be progressing about the right pace to get a plan, to get all the ordinances laid in, to get the comp plan to follow. Rome wasn't built today. I think we've made great strides in getting us where we want to be. I do think those one-off roses, for now, probably over the next year or two, could be on a contract basis. I don't see anybody beating down our door at this particular time. But if one comes tomorrow, it would be wise for us to go out and hire somebody to walk us through that process. But I agree.
We need somebody, as he said, we need somebody on staff.
I agree.
Even for the normal stuff that we're doing.
I hear you, and I agree with you 100%. But I just want
we need a leader. So like we got a car, but we ain't got no driver. And so that.
Well, you're going to pay for that driver too.
Well, I understand that, but I think that we're going to pay for it one way or the other. He said they're going to be contracted or have somebody.
I just want you to keep in mind, the planner's going to be $100,000.
Well,
and when you get that $100,000, you just.
I hope we get one for $100,000.
I hope we can too. I'm just saying, be careful, because you got a chief deputy sitting out there, you got clerks sitting out there. I get it, but are you ready?
That right there is part of this conversation. What we are talking about is the direction that we are pointing this county in. You talked about the things we've done in a positive light, and then we say, oh my God, we can't afford that.
I'm saying you need to grow till you can afford it. You don't
but we don't have the time or the opportunity to wait for that, because there's fixing to be a development built down in Hull that's gonna take up all your sewer capacity and all your water inside of Madison County.
Which one is that?
In the interim.
In the interim. So, and I appreciate the time to think about it. So, the challenge with trying to do an interim thing, as I'm thinking about it, we basically be, trying to amend what we already have to put this development permit into it. Whereas the that's going to ripple effect, I think, whereas the UDC, once we get the rest of the chapters filled in, it'll be there and already seamlessly connected to all the other chapters. I worry about how much time and effort we spend on a stopgap that might be better spent on just getting the UDC done.
What I don't want to happen, and I don't want to put you in a spot that you can't help us with, is the next person comes along, and because of what we're already experiencing, we realize that this is deeper than we can do.
Yeah.
So we need to require more of you, and then he said, well, my attorney says you can't do that because.
Well, and that's the point of, trying to get outside, whether it's inside or outside assistance. All anybody can walk you through is what you already have.
That's what we got with CPL today.
Yeah.
But we knew that. We knew it was coming, so we talked about it.
What we need to do is just tell them we're ready.
you guys, you've been to more committee, you're on the committee, you have a better sense of how far away you think we are.
I think we're far too far.
Then maybe we do need to look at an amendment.
My thought says we easy 6 months and maybe more.
Okay. So,
If we won't see complete project, we won't see completed packet before the end of this year, I can't, based on what I've seen.
Yeah.
in that case, I or CPL or some combination thereof can probably come up with a development permit that we can integrate into what we have.
And I'm thinking of a statement similar to what adding in building inspection, the building inspectors can require more than, can require.
Right, we have to have some standards, but there can be judgment within those standards.
So can we have the same kind of statement that if the development comes up that we feel like is outside of our scope, we have the authority to require above what?
Yeah, but it's gotta be, it's gotta be a more objective definition than we feel like it's outside our scope.
So that's why you get the big bucks, right?
There you go, that's it.
But then with that concept.
Yes, but that concept, we can do, yes, that's right.
I think it's worth noting that we've had planners on staff in the past, since 2001, we've had, what, 5?
Is that me?
Jay, the other guy, I can't remember his name, Doug.
I remember
Alex.
Doug, I can't remember the others.
I think you don't need to take for granted how good you got it right now. That's what I think. I think you're trying to put the ball in front of it. Of course, horse in front of the cart, or cart in front of the horse a little bit. Just throwing it out there. We talked about this with CPL. I warned about what CPL was gonna do. We got CPL, and now we're complaining about what we got. So
I don't think nobody's complaining, we're just trying to improve upon what we got. I ain't complaining about anything that anybody's done. I think that we're doing a great job, I just think we gotta think about the future, and that we learn from the future, from the past, and go into the future, and so we just need to be planning on, we need to be more aggressive, I think, in trying to get some staff things together, because, and there's other suggestions of other staff things that we've talked about too that I like, but we just need to get on those and decide what we're going to do.
Looking at this particular suggestion, and I need an executive session, so I'm trying to move this along. So I think the chairman and the county clerk have sort of been keeping tabs with CPL, trying to manage that budget, so maybe that's something that we could talk to them about, how we might, and what the cost might be of trying to get something in place in the interim.
And I commend this board for making these great strides in 3.5 years. I do. I really want y'all to know this board has done amazing things. But we got a water department coming too. Don't let that slip by. January 1. All right, gentlemen, any other things under urgent matter, executive session, to discuss real estate acquisition, personal matter, potential litigation? Yes, sir.
I do need an executive session for pending litigation.
No worries, sir.
We need to come back and vote.
Well, first I need a motion second to go into executive session, and then come back to it. Yeah, then we'll come back to adjourn the meeting.
That's correct.
Make a motion for executive session.
Second motion. Motion by Commissioner Dawson, second by Commissioner Chandler.
He said pending litigation, write that down.
Yes. You need a round table vote, or just a motion second?
If it's unanimous, no, I need a vote, but if it's unanimous, that's fine.
It's unanimous, go ahead. All right, probably never run into this one before, but you're welcome to wait until we come back in case there's something you want to hear. I don't think that's going to be the case on this one, so.
No, I'm not asking for any action tonight.
Yeah, so.
I'm going to go ahead and run.
Okay, buddy, thank you.
I don't blame you, I would.
Alex, Caleb, okay. The new senator? Okay, yes, I just needed your name. What's your last name?
We'll be coming back.
Is it five?
Just to close the
Just to close it.
Yeah.
Which is going to be our.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner, how do you see? Pretty good.
You gonna get that thing fenced in over?
Yeah. Not in a hurry right now. Gotta get something work fences first.
Oh, really?
We planted part of it. Still got a bunch of it to plant.